from the government and professional bodies in India and abroad. To mention a few, Times of India adjudged him as the Man of the Year in 2002. Time magazine chose him as one of the Asian heroes in 2003. The President of French Republic awarded him the highest civilian honor of Knight of the Legion of Honor in 2005. He was named one of the top 25 newsmakers of 2005 by US premier publications on construction industry, Engineering News Record. He was awarded the Person of the Year by the India Vision News Channel in 2006. He was given Man of the Year Award for Public Service and Indian of the Year Award from CNN IBN in 2007. He has been bestowed with the second highest civilian award of Japan by Emperor of Japan, the Order of Rising Sun, Gold and Silver Star on 6 November 2013. Government of India awarded him Padma Shri in 2001 and Padma Vibhushan in 2008. Besides these achievements, he has been awarded honorary degrees of Doctor of Science, Philosophy and Literature by many IITs and universities. So this was a brief about Sir. Now, without taking much time, I would like to invite Dr. E. Sreedharan to grace the dais and enlighten us with his words of wisdom.
With a Sanskrit slogan taken from Vivek Chudamani. You know, Vivek Chudamani was the last poem written by Adi Shankaracharya. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. The meaning is, I bow to the Supreme Teacher, Govinda, who is none other than the Supreme Bliss, but who cannot be seen by the mortal eyes, but only through our Upanishads and other scriptures. That is the why I recited this poem was mainly to remind the probationers here. Incidentally, my talk will be basically targeting the probationers. You are here to learn, and you are on the threshold of your professional career to learn things you have come here. The first and foremost you should keep in mind is that any knowledge which you acquire will sustain in you only if you have the respect and regard for the teachers. This is the first thing you should remember. Having said this, now formally I should address respected Pradeep Kumar, DG, Mrs. Saxena, Deputy DG, senior professors, esteemed members of the faculty, dear probationers and trainees, and respected guests, particularly Mr. Jayam Sharma, who I had the privilege of working with in the Railway Board. I am extremely happy to be with you this morning and talk to you. I always feel quite happy, well at home in the company of railway officers. And I am grateful to the Academy for providing this unique opportunity to meet you and talk to you. First of all, I must compliment all the professionals present here for having very successfully come through the Union Public Service Commission and have decided to take up a career with the Indian Railways. You are indeed very fortunate to be part of the Indian Railways. Mainly because, I must point out, of all the government departments in the country, I consider railways as the best department which gives you a lot of flexibility, lot of freedom to work, and also a lot of job satisfaction. More than that, railway is one organization which gives a lot of perks and facilities to its officers and employees. I don't think any other organization gives these sort of facilities. Perhaps only in the military service some of this is available. As officers, wherever you go, you get ready resident accommodation for you and your families. You belong to the All India service, no doubt. But wherever you go, you are treated as a member of the same railway family. Irrespective of the region you come from, irrespective of the place you work. Railway is one organization which takes care of your health needs fully, not only in service, even after retirement. That's a great facility that you enjoy. Of course, you have the travel facilities freely with you as a railwayman. While in service, on duty, you can go anywhere. Even after retirement, you still enjoy travel facilities in the railways. And as I pointed out, the most important thing is you belong to a very unique family called railway family. Wherever you go, you are treated as a member of the family. My own experience, I want to tell you one or two instances. When I was a probationer and had gone to Punjab to see these sleeper creosote factories in those days. There was a big factory there, it is no more functioning. And when three of us probationers from Southern Railway, we were IRS probationers only three. We went there was severe storm and heavy rain and flooding in the whole area. With great difficulty, we reached the railway station. What is punctuality? Punctuality is nothing but a courtesy show to others. It is nothing but the respect and consideration you give to the time of others, I would say. And in railways, punctuality means not a minute early or not a minute late. In fact, I was a little disappointed when this meeting started 5 minutes before, 9:15, given to me. Early, 5 minutes early. It should not happen that. You know, as railwaymen, what are our responsibilities? Railway is in transport business. And railway's main concern is to run passenger trains and freight trains. And they have to be run very punctually. Even freight trains have to be run very punctually. Unless we are ourselves very punctual, how do you expect our trains to be punctual? This is the first fundamental thing you should learn. If you want our trains to run punctually, we have to be ourselves very punctual. And what's the difficulty in being very punctual? I can't understand this. You have to plan for it. This habit of being very punctual or the importance of being punctual, I learned from my own engineering college in Kakinada. We had a professor in civil engineering, Professor Sreedharan. It was a stickler for punctuality. And more than the subject, you want to teach these sort of habits among the students. He would come to the class for giving a lecture. The lecture is at 11:30. He will come about 2-3 minutes earlier, but still wait outside the door. Exactly 11:30 only he will enter the classroom, give his lecture. Exactly at 12:30, the period is over, he will walk out. And this punctuality is not merely for official matters, even social areas, this punctuality has got to be practiced. For example, if you are a divisional railway manager, DR, and you invite your branch officers for tea in your house, this punctuality has got to be observed even there, this sort of social events. This has become a part of your religion, punctuality. The importance of punctuality I want to convey to you by the example of Delhi Metro itself. In Delhi Metro today, there run about 4,000 trains a day. Very often, the intervals between trains is hardly 2 minutes or even 90 seconds. Because of the importance we are given for punctuality, for all the officers and staff on Delhi Metro, and it's so scrupulously being practiced. Do you know what is the punctuality performance of Delhi Metro trains? I am very proud to inform you the punctuality performance of Delhi Metro trains is 99.97%. All this is only because the importance we have laid for punctuality. Please practice this in whatever you do. You find in your official life, if you start practicing it, everybody will fall in line, including your family members. Including your spouse will ensure that your breakfast is ready exactly at that time. And all your subordinate staff, everybody, even seniors, I can tell you that. When I was managing director at Delhi Metro Corporation, I used to meet the Chief Minister, Mr. Sreedharan, very frequently. And he used to tell in the studies, these sort of things will happen in your life, you find. Why do you face it? Railway pays you so well. You know, the salary scales are so good these days. And as I mentioned to you, you are going to pass through the junior levels very fast and become senior officers very fast. The perks, privileges, and the salary that you command at that time is so attractive. Why do you want to be branded as a man who is not very straightforward? Ladies and gentlemen, take my own example. I retired from the Indian Railways 28 years back. After my retirement only, the government entrusted me with the major project Konkan Railway. After completing Konkan Railway, I was given charge of the Delhi Metro. And after Delhi Metro, I stepped down from Delhi Metro on my own. Nobody wanted me to leave Delhi Metro. In fact, when I gave my resignation, the then Chief Minister, Sreedharan, was very emphatic that she will not accept my resignation, I should continue. Of course, by that time I was already 76. I didn't want to continue further. And even after I came out, many state governments were after me for engaging my services. Kerala immediately engaged me for the Kochi Metro. Andhra Pradesh engaged me for Vijayawada and Visakhapatnam metros. Uttar Pradesh government engaged me as their advisor for Lucknow, Kanpur, Meerut, Agra, and Gorakhpur, 5 metros. Lastly came even Maharashtra government. Then I had to decline, saying that it is too much, I won't be able to manage. Now, why I am saying is, Why should a government, should be trusting a government servant after retirement with thousands and thousands of crores for project implementation? Why should the government trust me? They have no hold on me. Even my pension, legally they can't stop. It's only because the government had the confidence in my integrity. This is the reputation that you should set up. You'll find that even after retirement, people will be after you for engaging your services. Because now that they know that the money entrusted to you will be very gainfully spent, correctly spent. They are very sure about it. This integrity, as I told you, should be a passport in your pocket all the time. The third thing I mentioned was professional competence. It's very easy to understand the meaning of professional competence. Whatever is your work, whatever is the branch that you've taken on, you should know your work very well. If you don't know well, you should learn it fast. And railway is one organization which gives you a lot of opportunities to learn things. You are sent here for the induction course, foundation course, many refresher courses. And you have got your own separate institutions to teach you your own subject, permanent way, or mechanical engineering, signaling. There are institutions to teach you. Learn your work very well. If you know your job well, that itself gives you so much of confidence, so much of self-assurance to take decisions, to go ahead. Don't you think so? If you know your subject very well, that will help you to perform your duties very well. In Bhagavad Gita, it says, Jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha na vidyate. Excuse me, I'll be referring to Bhagavad Gita often in my speech. Because I consider Bhagavad Gita as a practical test for actually people like you who are out to perform your duties. Ladies and gentlemen, Bhagavad Gita is not a religious text. Don't have that impression. Bhagavad Gita is a dialogue between Lord Krishna, Sri Krishna and Arjuna, between one prince with the other prince, which took place on the Kurukshetra battlefield 5,158 years back. You may wonder how I am so precise about 5,158. It is not I have calculated it. It has been calculated by Aryabhatta, the 5th century mathematician of this country. You have heard about Aryabhatta? Yes. If you don't know, you know pi pavitram hena vidyate, which means there is nothing so purifying or divine in the world except knowledge. That is what you have all come up with, the basic knowledge only. In the railways also, with basic degrees only you have come. Now you have to build up your knowledge with experience and observations. Any opportunity you get, see that you learn things. Even if you go beyond the opportunities also, you must find out a way of getting the knowledge. I'll give you my own example. Excuse me, in my speech I may be giving many examples from my own life and my work. It is not for self-aggrandizement. It is not for boosting my own image. is only to drive home to you the importance of these things. When I was a deputy chief engineer designs in Calcutta Metro, I got an opportunity to go to Japan. This is 1970, particularly from Tokyo to Osaka, they were building this. And they were organizing an international seminar. I was sent to attend the seminar. And that also has got a very interesting history. The railway board decided that the chief engineer Calcutta Metro should go and attend the seminar. That was the order given by the railway board. My chief engineer at that time, Mr. J.N. Roy, he wrote back saying that, what is the use of my sending me to Japan? I got only 1.5 years left to retire. And what all experience I get will go away with my retirement. If you really want to empower young engineers to take up this metro work, you should send a young person. And he recommended my name. Just now, looking back, I wonder, what a foresight Mr. J.N. Roy had. In those days, getting a chance to go abroad was very, very rare. It was one of the biggest gifts that you get from the railways in those days. Today it's very easy to go abroad. But Mr. J.N. Roy felt that it is not he should go, but a young engineer. And see the benefit to the nation, which I'll explain to you. I went to attend the seminar, 3 days tunnel seminar. Then I thought, since Calcutta was going to build a metro, I must stay back in Tokyo and study the Tokyo metro systems, particularly the civil engineering part of it. I didn't have the money. In those days, the stipend or the allowance they give for foreign trips was so small. So I wrote to my nephew, who was a doctor in UK, sent a telegram to him that I would like to stay on for another 4 days in Tokyo, to go to the metro office, to pick up the drawings, to discuss with them, to go to the site and study how things are going on. He sent me immediately $300. In those days, $300 was a huge lot of money. And I stayed up. I went to the metro office, had discussion with the engineers, collected a lot of drawings, civil engineering drawings. Oh, well, the tidal variations, how tidal variations can be made use of for lifting weights. And this experience and these observations helped me to achieve it. Incidentally, I mentioned to you that railway is one organization which gives you a lot of latitude, lot of room to innovate, to do things yourself. What was done in Palm Railway was all innovations. And nobody questioned my innovations at that time because it was giving result. Similarly, on the railways also, as a divisional engineer, even as chief engineer, so many technical innovations I had introduced. Nobody had questioned me at any time. No finance, no audit, no vigilance. That flexibility and that freedom you have on the Indian Railways, provided you produce the result. So acquiring the knowledge during this period is very important. I would strongly advise you to have a notebook, important things noted down, which will be useful to you after 20 years somewhere. What you have noted down. Have 1 or 2 such. It's not merely your diary I am talking about. It's an information storage book. Have a book. Maintain it. Any time you should be able to open and then take inspiration and knowledge for doing your work properly. This professional competence. This is one thing which distinguishes railway officers from the rest of the crowd. Because you will find that the way they are trained, they have that professional competence so much. Anywhere they are put, they are able to shine. But you should know everything about finance. In fact, you should know more about finance than a finance officer. Then only you'll be able to discharge your work properly. This knowledge you have to gain of all departments. Yesterday, Mr. Mohan Menon brought to me old photograph when I was here undergoing my foundation course in 1955. 1955, May to June, I was here for training, and the photograph he brought. There we were only 18 civil engineers and 3 S&T professionals. That's all for the whole country intake in those days. And the teaching was common for everyone. Do you know who stood first in the examination in civil engineering, in that examination? A civil engineer. Yes? One Mr. Sreedharan, later on he left the railway, went to the World Bank. He stood first. And do you know who stood first in civil engineering? A civil engineer who is standing before you. This is what you should do. I am only giving these examples. You should be very thorough with other departments working, because it is such an interconnected type of organization. It's something like a rail wheel and a rail. The wheel belongs to mechanical department, the rail to the civil engineering department. But the interaction is so important. And this is the time you should do it. Afterwards you won't get time. I do hope other manuals are also being taught to you in the academy these days. In our days we used to have all manuals, everything we had to learn, all codes. And the fourth thing which I mentioned was about social accountability. Ladies and gentlemen, this is very, very important, as important as the subject of integrity. You have joined the railways, no doubt, to have a career, to make a living. Is that the only purpose? It's such a big organization you are joining only to make a living for yourself? No. It is to serve the society, to serve the country. That feeling should be always in your mind. That here is an opportunity for you to serve your country through the railways. Here is an opportunity for you to serve your fellow man. That attitude is required always. And don't think that you are only in the railways to draw your salary at the end of the month. Certainly not. The job satisfaction you get, the goodwill that you will fetch from others, the appreciation you get from other quarters is going to be a much better remuneration to you than the salary. Please remember that you are serving the society. And then that should be in your mind, whatever you do. Whether you are an operating officer, whether you are a civil engineer, see that whatever you do should be useful to others. And go out of the way to see that you perform your duties correctly and on time. You may have many such opportunities. And please always be that you are the nation's servant. You are the servant of the railway, servant of the people. That feeling and realization should be in your mind all the time. Then only you can perform in this fashion, wholeheartedly, with full dedication, and with a very satisfying bent of mind. While introducing myself, Mr. Goyal mentioned about one sentence from that is from Vasishtha Ramayana. Aham karomi, nacha kinjit aham karomi. Karyam karomi, na kinjit aham karomi. That is the thing. You will find this word written almost in every room that I occupy. It means I do my work but it is not I who do the work. There is a divine persuasion. There is a divine grace which helps you and aids you to do your work perfectly and formally. That feeling should be all the time in your mind. You'll find, even today, if you go to Kochi office, that's the first thing that will greet you. This wording. You'll see in Delhi Metro, you can see in the Konkan Railway office. This I coined it from Yoga Vasishtha Ramayana, and then used to not only put it there, it used to be an inspiration for all the people in the office. With that kind of mind, frame of mind, you should work. It's a golden opportunity that you have got to do something for your nation. Do it. And don't expect any recognition, any reward, any remuneration for it. For the sake of doing, you should do it. Bhagavad Gita says, when you perform your duties, there are three things that you should keep in mind. Mainly, I am only going to the main aspects of it. I would like to repeat that sloka to you even. Niyatam sangarahidam araga dveshata kritam abhala prepsuna karma yattat sattvigam uchyate. In the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, this is the real call to a performer. It says, Niyatam sangarahidam araga dveshata kritam, which is whatever is ordained to you, whatever is assigned to you. Do it. Not with the feeling that I am doing it. Don't have that pride in you, that ego in you that I am doing this work. Yes, you are only an instrument of the work. And araga dveshata kritam, that's very important. Whenever you do the work, you don't have any malice towards others or any anger towards others. Very often, whatever work you have been given to you by your elders or superiors may not be liking to you. But don't harbor that malice or that vesha, that anger in you. Oh, why has he given me this work? Do it very pleasantly, willingly. Please remember this. This is all you are going to face it in your daily life hereafter. Many things you will be required to do which may not be to your liking. But you must learn to like it. If it is a duty. Then abhala prepsuna karma. And whenever you do the duty, don't expect any reward, any recognition. That doesn't mean that you should not take your salary. It doesn't mean that. You have your salary. But not for the salary's sake you are doing it. You are doing it because it's your duty to do it. That is the difference. And if that is done, that is called a sattvic karma, sattvic duty. Sattvic is again a Sanskrit word. You can't give a clear translation to this word sattvic. The nearest can be virtuous. This is the most virtuous deed that you can do. So Bhagavad Gita says, whenever you have to do the work, there are three things to be kept in mind. One is, whatever you do it to the best of your abilities. And you do it not for your own sake. You do it as a service to the Almighty. As an offering. Since Almighty you can't see, you can't feel, you can't touch. When I say Almighty, it is to society. Do it as an offering to the society. And then do it without expecting any return or remuneration personally for you. These are the three principles you should keep in mind when you perform your duty. Now I have talked to you about the four qualities that is required. will now talk to you about other things that is very important as well in your railway life. Most important thing is health. You should know that railway is a very demanding profession. We demand on your physical stamina, a heavy demand. If you want to have the demand met, you must have good health. That's a simple logic. Unless you have good, buoyant health, you won't be able to discharge your duties properly. You find that, for example, an accident site. When on occasions we have to stand there without food, without water, 72 hours or even more to restore lives, restore traffic at the earliest opportunity. You must have good stamina. How do you get the stamina? Unless you have good health. So these basic requirements in your profession, please remember, particularly for ladies also. Don't think that's only for gents. You must have a very robust health, I would say. And how do you cultivate this robust health? By systematic habits. Out of which most important is your own food, timely food, nourishing food at the proper time. Not too much of eating, not too little of eating also. Bhagavad Gita says, Yuktahara viharasya, Yukta chestasya kammaso, Yukta sapno avabodhasya, yogo, yogo bhavadi, dukkha. Yogo bhavadi dukkha. I'm not able to remember it so well. It only means whatever you do should be in moderation. Whether it is food, it should be in moderation. Whether you are playing, it should be in moderation. Not too much of play or no play at all. And whatever you do, the work also in a moderation, do peace. And even your sleep, your waking, all should be in moderation. Such a person only will get yoga, dukkha, yoga which does not cause any inconvenience or any illness. That comes to you only if you observe all these things in moderation. That is the first thing required for good health. Second thing is adequate sleep. So unfortunately these days, in our educational institutions particularly, we pick up the bad habit. Sitting late and getting up late. The dictum early to bed, early to rise is the best practice you should develop. You can even now, if you are not used to it, you can start practicing it now. Get up early. You have such a lot of time at your disposal to do many things. Go to bed early. You have enough sleep, enough rest. Don't waste your time unnecessarily in front of the TVs or playing with your cell phones or with other aids these days, which diverts most of your attention. What is required for your work, you do. Adequate sleep is very essential. And the third thing is ample exercise. Enough exercise is required. That is also moderation. It could be, it has got to be an aerobic type of exercise, or it could be yoga, or it can be a combination of both. You should practice every day. You should find half an hour for this, to do exercise for yourself, which will give you agility, stamina, freshness, and most important, good memory. Whatever you do, you remember things. This is very essential. I want to tell you the example of Maharaj Sindhya. You must have heard about Maharaj Sindhya, who was railway minister a few years back. He is no more. He died in a helicopter crash. He was Maharaja of Sindhya Maharaja of Gaudiya. He was my railway minister when I was member of engineering. He had such a systematic habit. You know, he will come to the office at 8 o'clock. Until 5:30, or even 7 o'clock he will be in the office. But he used to tell the railway board members, because railway board members are all old people, and he was a very young man, 45, 50. He could sit at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. He used to say, after 5 o'clock, you are at liberty to go. Saturday, Sunday, he will be in his constituency. But he used to find half a day, half an hour every day for exercise. Why I came to know it was, I had to get a file signed by him very urgently about the posting of the chief engineer. To be clear from, in those days, members could post any officer within the same railway. If you recognize their good work, you should know how to treat your subordinates. You cannot be very harsh with them. You have to be very pleasant, persuasive, diplomatic, and see the best work is taken out of them. In railways, it's a very difficult sort of an association that you have. Your own subordinates, your own colleagues in other departments, and your own superiors. Everyone you have to maintain a very cordial and excellent relationship. You must learn that. And you should be recognized as a very pleasant person all the time, by everyone, particularly your colleagues in other departments. Because most of the things you find, whatever you do, it will have a reflection on another department, and particularly finance. You should know how to handle the finance, how to take them along with you to get your things done. In railways, I used to say in my days, the power is not with the general manager, the power is with the FNCO. Is the finance who controls the power? No, not that way at all. Because the general manager refuses to exercise his own powers. That's why it happens. You should exercise your powers. Don't try to pass it on to somebody else. Similarly, when you give an order, you should be very brief, very precise, and correct, very apt to the subject concerned, very unambiguous. Orders you should be able to respond on the files. This should come as a habit. I used to have a senior colleague of mine, one batch senior to me, one Mr. M.N. Prasad. He is no more. He became chairman relay board. You must see the way he issues orders on the files. His own handwriting. That is how it has got to be done. Learn how to issue orders on the file. And then you have to develop a tolerance, I would say, to certain things, which I used to say 3 P's. P, the capital letter P. You must be indifferent to 3 P's. These 3 P's are promotions, places, postings. You should be indifferent. 3 P's. Unless you are indifferent to these things, you can't be happy in your career. Railway is an all India service. You may be posted today in Southern Railway, after some time you may be enough railway. You should grudge that posting. You should curse somebody because you are being posted. You may have your own difficulties. For your information, in my first 15 years of service, I had 25 transfers. But I never regretted it. And the most crucial period of my children's education, I had a transfer from Southern Railway to Eastern Railway. I never objected to it. And again, another most important stage of the career, children's education career, I had a transfer as Chief Engineer Madras to CAO, Central Railway. That is one occasion I was reluctant to move because my children were very, very critical stages of education. I was a little reluctant. Though it was a promotion, I was Chief Engineer Construction Southern Railway and CEO Construction Central Railway. It's one post higher. In those days, there were only 2 CAOs in the whole country. One CAO, Bombay BT, and one CAO at Southeastern Railway for the new railways and constructions. At that time, the chairman railway board was R.K. Jain. He was senior to me, only 3 years senior to me in the IRSC. He rang me up and said, Sreedharan, if you don't go, you are making a serious mistake. You have got still a lot of time in your service left. Unless you move now, you won't become a general manager, and you may probably have a good chance to become a member of the railway board. Please move out. I agreed and moved out. And my family and children had to remain in Chennai for another 9 months of the academic year, all by themselves. And I was CEO, Central Railway in Bombay. But even that separation had its own good results, I can tell you that. Because I was away, I found the children more responsible, more responsive. At that time, you'll be surprised to know, my eldest son got admission in a management course. My second son got admission in medical course. Third fellow got in IIT. And my daughter stood first in Madras University in English. So, these things, you may have personal inconvenience, but don't refuse any transfer given to you. I have seen these days, people all want to be only around about Delhi. Everybody wants to be Northern Railway Board. Nobody wants to go to NF Railway, or even any railway. And these are for Southern Railway, except Southerners. This is an all India service. You have elected for it, and you have to go by the rules of the game. So don't be at all indifferent to a posting. Similarly, in the same railway to places, that also don't at all bother about, never grudge about it. It will have its own good effects later on somewhere else. In the same railway, you will find that your colleague has been given a plump posting, but you are giving some unwanted posting in a faraway place. Never grumble about it. You should learn to take it in its own stride. Accept it. You are not bargained for it. Never ask for anything at all. In Sanskrit, what is called nirapeksham. Never ask for anything. Never request for anything. Whatever comes, take it gladly. This attitude you should have. Places and promotions, same thing. You may not get promotion because it's a huge batch. Your batchmate in one railway must have got promotion. You would not have got it. Never bother about such things. You will get it in your own turn. This attitude as a railway man is very, very essential. Indifference to 3 P's. Please note it down if necessary, if you want to be happy in your career. Otherwise, if you start grudging it, if you start cursing the people who issue the orders, you will be very unhappy. You will be only spoiling yourself. If you are unhappy, the member staff who has issued the order or member engineering, he is not unhappy. Only you become unhappy. It only affects you. Learn these things. Then the other thing is, never be afraid of 3 things in your career. Railway working. Never afraid of these things. One is vigilance. The other is audit. Third is your own confidential reports, CRs. What is now called as
APAR.
APAR. There is no CR. These 3 things never bother at all. Whatever happens. If you are doing your work properly, why are you afraid of the audit? If you are doing things correctly, according to the rules, why are you afraid of the audit? Similarly, if you do things correctly for the good of the railway, why are you afraid of the vigilance? Again, the litmus test is it in the best interest of the railway or not? Vigilance may take up case against you. It had happened in my case. When I was divisional engineer, Southern Railway, Palghat, there was a vigilance case against my own PWI. The case was, by the Palghat division, the railway line comes very close to the biggest river in Kerala, Bharatapura it's called. And there are so many cross drainages. And this large number of bridges, their approaches were not protected properly by stone paving or something. They were not protected. So the railway sanctioned a work for protecting all these approaches, bridge approaches, stone paving. This work was not getting completed at all. Year after year, it was not getting completed. You know why? Because there was no possibility of bringing the stone to the bridge site, either through bullock carts or through lorries, because the area was always well cultivated, three crops a day. It was not possible. So this work was not getting completed. When I took over as divisional engineer of that area, it was DN2, Palghat. I said this work cannot be allowed to go on like this. I told the PWI, since you are not able to get the stones, the contractor is not able to get the stones by trucks, get the stones loaded from the quarry, bring it by a ballast train, unload it to the sites, and get the work done. The work was done. The vigilance took up this case against the PWI, saying that an undue favor has been shown to the contractor. So when this in those days, vigilance organization was not so well spread. Now they have got the roads everywhere. In those days, it was not so much. When it came to us, I told the vigilance officer, why are you taking the case against the PWI, my PWI? Have you checked up who gave the orders? I had given the orders. So if you want to take up the case, take it against the DEA and not the PWI. Don't harass him unnecessarily. He was surprised. Instead of passing on to PWI, why I am taking the blame. He took it, yes, all right, we'll take the case against you. So the case was taken. It went to the chief engineer. My explanation was called for. I gave the explanation why it was done. I said, if I had not done that work, in the next monsoon, suppose there is a heavy rainfall and the bridge gets washed out, who will be held responsible? Naturally, the divisional engineer, isn't it? 6 years work has been sanctioned, you are not carried out the work. If it is not done, who will be held responsible? And how much damage, how much losses the railway will incur? I gave this explanation. My chief engineer accepted it, my explanation, but the vigilance will not accept it. So it went to the railway board. In those days, the member in the railway board is the final authority for all vigilance cases. It doesn't have to go to the chief vigilance officer. If an officer is involved, it doesn't have to go. So the member, one Mr. S.K. Sood was the member of the hearing. He saw the file. He saw my explanation. He said, this officer cannot be held responsible for this. He completely exonerated me of the crime. He did not stop with that. He made out a circular. Here is a young officer. He was very young at that time, hardly 24, 25. Here is a young officer who has taken the correct decision, although it has annoyed the vigilance, and which has saved so much for the railways. I want every young officer to follow his example. He wrote that letter, sent the letter to me, and copied the letter to all the railways. This is what I expect young engineers to do. So why are you worried about? If it is done in the best interest of the railway, you can always justify it. Learn to justify such acts. So don't bother about the vigilance. But the litmus test I told you should be, is it in the best interest of the railways? Now, in my service, for the last 66 years of professional life, I would have done many things unless there's an emergency, there's an accident or something else. I should go, take my wife out for a walk or something like that, play with the children, give tuition to the children if necessary, find time for your family. This is also a culture, a habit we should develop. Don't be a workaholic. Don't be a workaholic. Do be a regular, satisfied family person. Learn to do it. The other thing what I would like you to develop is no departmentalism in the railways. There are so many departments. What we have been seeing for the last 25, 30 years in the railway is departmentalism. Building up empires. Railway is such a complex organization. But it's a composite organization with so many departments. As a matter of fact, in railways there is only one department, according to me, and that is railways. Don't think that civil engineering department is different, electrical is different, mechanical is different. It's all one single railway. Learn to accept it. Don't think that your own department only should be sheltered, should be expanded. This feeling should not be there for a railway man. You are a railway man first, then only a civil engineer. This attitude you should develop, which is so essential for the survival of the railways. Please remember, the future and destiny of Indian railways depend upon you, these young shoulders. After 10 years, you are going to be in pivotal position to decide many issues of the railways. That's what I am saying. The future and destiny of the railways rest on your shoulders. Learn to have this sort of habits and attitude if the railway has to survive. Indian railways have to go a long way. Though ours is the fourth largest system in the world and the first government-owned system, and we have got such a lot of tradition and history behind it. Indian Railways is at least 20 years behind the rest of the world in technology. 20 years behind. We have to make it up. And railway is so essential for the country. Don't think these high-speed railway lines and all are going to solve the problem of the country, or the highways are going to solve. We will be depending upon the railways at least for the next 30, 40 years for the country, for the economic activity of this country. So much is in stake. And you are the people to see that the railway performs properly. About good qualities and all that I have told you. There are three sentences of mine, please remember, which you should cultivate. One is characteral majesty. Your character, you should be in a majestic way, characteral majesty. Then behavioral grandeur or behavior excellence. In your behavior, you should be a very excellent way of doing it, behavior excellence. And interactional elegance. Interaction elegance I am particularly mentioning because railway is such a system you have to interact with various people all the time. Among ourselves, among your own colleagues, with the public, with the clients, with subordinates. Interaction elegance. Whatever you do, you should be in an elegant fashion. These three words, please remember it. Ladies and gentlemen, I try to convey to you what I have learned during my long years on the railways, which I felt should be very useful to the young minds assembled here. I had an opportunity on 31st August to go to Missouri and talk to the civil service probationers. Some of the, I don't know whether some of the traffic officers were there at that time. There were IRTS officers that touch.
They will join this December.
December. So they were also there. I was talking to them only in these lines, but not with particular offense for railways. But in civil service, the ethics and values to be followed. Do you know how fondly they have received all that I have given? I could see people noting down, taking down. After I left, I got a glorious report from the on the head of the institution, saying that the students like so much your lecture. What I am trying to tell you is, in a sincere fashion, showing me as a role model, I have showed you what is possible in Indian Railways. Try to imbibe it, try to practice. I wish you well. Thank you very much.